In this episode of Beyond Good and Evil DNA, we will be looking at how vehicles are a staple in the Beyond Good and Evil formula.
Well, that's it. Finito. Dead.
Ah, stupid tugboat! The garage is only 300 meters away.
Mama go garage, you know. When your mama won't go, you know. Come mama go garage. And so, hey man, what seems to be the problem? I'll go ahead and tow you to the Mama Go garage. Mama Go!
Hey, it works!
Yeah, works to sucker in the client, all right.
It's true, us Beyond Good and Evil fans are suckers for vehicles. Hello, fellow space monkeys, this is the Mildly Morose Man, otherwise known as Dan, or Dan the Man, whichever you fancy. I am here to bring you another thought-provoking video in the series of Beyond Good and Evil DNA. Be sure to subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all things Beyond Good and Evil 2. Before you go, what about vehicles in Beyond Good and Evil do you want to return for Beyond Good and Evil 2? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And while the original plan was to make one episode covering the topic of vehicles, there's actually so much in the original game that this one topic of vehicles will be covering multiple episodes. Vehicles hold a special place in the hearts of Beyond Good and Evil fans, and it's because vehicles make up a huge and important part of the original game. You receive the hovercraft early on and it stays with you until the end of the game. That's why I need to warn you now. Spoilers for the original game are coming up because vehicles play such a large role in the storyline. You have been warned. So I have combed through the original Beyond Good and Evil to take inventory of every element of vehicles in the original game so that we can compare that to everything we know about vehicles in Beyond Good and Evil 2. At the end, I'll share my thoughts about whether this new prequel will be a worthy successor to the original on this particular point. So let's hop right into where it all begins. Mama Go's Garage is a location players visit often throughout Beyond Good and Evil. This is the place to find almost every upgrade available for your hovercraft. By the end of the game, we have to clear this place out. You need every single item in this garage to complete the game. So here's something that we do not know about Beyond Good and Evil 2. Will there be a shop that players have to come back to in order to buy upgrades for their vehicles? I'm sure we won't be forced to visit one location in the whole solar system every time we want to upgrade any of our vehicles. But maybe there will be a franchise-style garage that we will be able to find across the solar system? A part of what's nice about having to come back to Mama Go's every time is the conversations and the character development that we get to experience with that family of rhinos. So it could be that we need to have a certain kind of character be a part of our crew so that we are able to upgrade our vehicles while we are on the go. That way, there would be one place to come back to, and we would get to experience a possibly deeper relationship with our crewmates. Traveling and being on the go in the universe brings us to vehicles playing a huge role in exploration. In the first game, the state that your vehicle was in determined the boundaries of your exploration in Hillis. This effectively keeps the world of Hillis feeling vast and open for the player to explore. This is the gameplay loop that Beyond Good and Evil establishes early on. Explore, find enough pearls to upgrade your hovercraft, return to Mama Go's for an upgrade, explore some more. That's why the boat breaks down immediately before you go anywhere as soon as you leave the lighthouse. Mama Go's is the consistent gate players need to go through in order to explore more and more of Hillis. So the first item that you get helps the boat to run properly, but you also get the ability to use a second faster speed. You don't actually need that faster speed often, but it is the only way to get up the sandy dunes to certain looter caves. So you are rewarded as a player for being wise with those boosters. Again, you will remember that you are eventually able to afford the charge cannon, which helps take care of certain Alpha Section enemies blocking certain waterways. A little later, you are able to purchase the jump ability that allows you to get to even more areas. Finally, you find the beluga hidden away at the lighthouse. Although the beluga is not found at Mama Go's shop, you do have to eventually buy the space rockets from the garage in order to make it to the moon. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I find the initial experience with the Beluga to be one of the most wonderful and disappointing elements of Beyond Good and Evil. It's an amazing moment in the game because the game opens up in a massive way in a single moment. This area that you were just floating around in on a little hovercraft now has this totally new vertical direction. With every other upgrade, the map was getting larger in a horizontal direction, but now we can fly. What mysteries could the world of Hillis hold? What things will we be able to find now? What secrets about the alpha sections and the DOMs will we be able to uncover? All of those questions bring us to why this is also the most disappointing element in Beyond Good and Evil. This was so disappointing because all that wonder I felt at being able to explore Hillis from this new perspective led to only one single area that simply contained a lot of pearls. Nothing else. No secrets, no more discoveries, nothing more to uncover about the alpha sections and the DOMs. I'm not sure what led to the lack of content in this particular portion of the game, but I feel that there was a missed opportunity here for even more exploration and story development before making it to the moon. But exploration doesn't end there. Buying the last item in Mama Go's garage allows you to break through the atmosphere and travel all the way to the moon to face the DOM's threat face to face. So vehicles in Beyond Good and Evil are tied to exploration and a solid sense of progression as players unlock larger portions of Hillis and eventually break free from the planet itself to travel all the way to the moon. So what does this mean for Beyond Good and Evil 2? This provides a big question that does not yet have an answer. How will players experience progression in the game? In Beyond Good and Evil, you are stuck on the same planet until the very end of the game. There are so many different planets in Beyond Good and Evil 2 that there obviously needs to be a new formula. Once you are able to break through the atmosphere and achieve acceleration that brings you to the speed of light, won't we be able to travel anywhere? If we are able to travel at light speed after 3 hours of playing the game, I'm worried that we as players won't get to experience the wonder that was so well established in the first game when we finally obtained the Beluga. There, of course, could be other boundaries placed in the game world so that we as players still feel a concrete sense of progression as we are uncovering the storyline. What if an impenetrable shield surrounded a planet and we wouldn't be able to visit until a certain point in the storyline? Another option would be that a massive fleet of the Alpha sections are blocking off part of the solar system until we cause a revolution on one of the planets that has to be dealt with by the authorities. I imagine we won't see these types of gameplay elements for quite some time, but like I've said elsewhere, exploration in this game has to be on point. Much of the exploration in Beyond Good and Evil 2 will include space travel. This is sort of the exact opposite from Beyond Good and Evil. The only space travel one experiences in the original game was what was basically a hallway in space from Hillis to the moon. Pretty cool effect, but that was just the seed of space travel that has grown into a massive tree of space travel in Beyond Good and Evil 2. Again though, I'm concerned with the sense of wonder. I'm thinking we probably get the ability to travel on light speed from planet to planet fairly early on in the game. So how will Ubisoft make this a memorable experience? Well, I think they could accomplish this in the first few hours of the game. They could set up the tutorial as a steady progression to this sort of interplanetary space travel. You begin with a tuk-tuk. You are able to travel around a smaller island, but you cannot travel on water or in the air. You work your way up to a hovercraft, then a hover bus, and you're able to travel to the next town over where you can get your first single-person spaceship. You can travel through space, sure, but only later will you be able to gather a crew after obtaining a medium or large-scale ship. You see, if they draw out the experience in this way, I could imagine still feeling that sense of wonder the first time we break through the atmosphere into the open opportunity of all of System 3. In a similar way, I know it's awesome that the in-game engine can generate the entire solar system to be explored in the map. I just hope a map like this doesn't take away from the sense of discovery and exploration that is tied to the ability to gain and operate vehicles like spaceships. Which brings us to one final point for this episode. In the original Beyond Good and Evil, you had two vehicles, effectively, the hovercraft and the Beluga. In Beyond Good and Evil 2, we don't even have a complete list of all of the different types of vehicles that will be available to the player. Surprisingly, I don't think a hovercraft has been confirmed. We will have jetpacks, hoverbikes, tuk-tuks, hovering carriages, hover buses, small fighter ships, larger vessels, supposedly submarines have been mentioned by Michelle Ancel. There are going to be a ton of different vehicles. The variety is exciting. The opportunity for exploration and progression is staggering. And like we've seen, there will have to be some major differences in how progression is handled, and there's no way that there's just going to be one Mama Go's garage that players are forced to visit every time they want to upgrade their vehicle. But the verdict is still out on many of these things until we know more. So what questions do you have about vehicles in Beyond Good and Evil 2? What are some of your favorite things about vehicles in the original? Leave your comments down below, and thanks so much for watching. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video at all, or a dislike if you didn't. And be back for the next one if you want to hear more mildly morose thoughts about vehicles in Beyond Good and Evil 2.